I'm pushing over the title card. Killing up. Good day around the world, everyone. This is John Ellis for the Engagement Broadcast Network, and today I'm with Canada Gold. This is the Canada Gold Show, and joining me is Victor Minichiello from the Canada Gold office in Vancouver, BC. I almost said Victoria, but that's a little farther north. And today we're going to talk about mintage and the Morgan silver dollar, which I believe is a U.S. dollar. We're going to find out about why certain of these coins are worth more than others. Victor, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. Thanks, John. Thanks for introducing me. And I'm hoping today we have a pretty good show. I think we have a good topic to discuss today.
We do. We do. I'm excited about this one. I used to collect coins, as you know. I had a couple Morgan dollars back in the day, and I'm really interested to find out why certain ones are worth more than others and what makes the mintage so valuable.
Well, that's what we're going to cover today. And in a blog post that I put together, this was, I guess, a couple weeks ago, it was called "What Makes Coins Valuable," and there are several different factors of what makes a coin valuable. And the one we're going to look at today is mintage. And what is mintage exactly? It's the number of issued coins in a given year. And like anything that's collectible, if there's a lot of it, it's usually not worth a lot. But if there's not so much, there's only a handful, it's going to be worth a lot because to a collector, they're going to have that one and only item, or they're going to have the item that no one else can have. And that's what really mintage is, and that's one of the biggest factors for coin collectors is how many coins are available to collect. And a good example of that is the Morgan silver dollar. That's what we're going with today. And to go a little further into what mintage is, we're going to look at what mint marks are. And a mint mark is essentially a stamp on a coin that represents where that coin was made. And how does that add value to a coin? Well, let's look at, let's say a mint facility makes 99% of the coins, and then you have this one obscure mint facility that makes the other 1%. To a collector, that 1% is going to be, or those coins made from that 1% is going to be worth a lot because there's not a whole lot of them. If you have coins circulating around the country, and you come across this one particular coin, you can be like, wow, there's not a lot of these. It's probably going to be worth a lot one day. And that's what the Morgan silver dollar sort of did. And what is the Morgan silver dollar? Why is it significant? Well, let's just say it's an old coin. It's an old American coin. It has a lot of historic value. It was made between 1873 and 1904, so that's a long time ago. They're silver coins. They're not pure silver coins. They're about 90% silver, 10% copper, and they're made as silver trade dollars. This was at a time where silver wasn't worth a whole lot. So silver traders, what they would do is they would mint them into these silver dollars or these Morgan silver dollars, and they're worth a face value at $1, but they're worth, that dollar was worth more than the silver that went into making them. So that's how the silver traders were making money.
Huh.
So right off the bat, you can kind of tell that these are old coins. They have some historic value, and something a little bit more about the Morgan dollar that we just mentioned was the mint marks. And if you can pull up the some of the mint facilities there that we had, yeah, there were 5 mint facilities. The main one was San Francisco and Philadelphia. Those were the 2 biggest ones. They were making most of the coins. And the Morgan silver dollar was being minted around 1873. So those are the 2 mint facilities that started right off the bat. And then we have the lesser known ones, which is New Orleans and Carson City. And Denver was just for 1921. The Morgan silver dollar was made in 1921 for just that 1 year, and that was Denver only.
Interesting.
Yeah. Carson City, they started minting the Morgan silver dollar in 1878. Now, what's so special about the Carson City? And to every collector who's collecting Morgan silver dollars, the Carson City Morgan dollar is the one that most collectors are after. Now, why is that? Well, it all goes back to the mint marks and the whole thing to do with mintage. And Carson City was not a very well established mint facility. It arose, or it was built because the Comstock lode was discovered, which is just near Nevada, and it was one of the largest gold and silver mines ever discovered, and this was about 1859. And that's why the mint facility was made. All the gold and silver that was found was sold to the mint facility to be made into coins. So in 1878, Carson City was making the Morgan silver dollars. And that's, they made them from, I think it was from 1878 to 1893. So already we can tell, just from this one mint facility, it's an old coin, they're silver coins, they weren't made for a very long period of time. The mint facility eventually just ran out of business. And it wasn't very well established. It wasn't as established as San Francisco or Philadelphia. So a lot of the coins that were even being made weren't even good enough to be in circulation.
Oh,
wow. So the supply of these was very low. And as time went on, these coins were going to be gathering value. And one of the main reasons why that happened was after 1904, when the Morgan silver dollar wasn't being made anymore, besides 1921, they were pulled out of circulation and melted down to be either used as pure silver or to be recoined.
Why? Just not worth it anymore, or they wanted different? They want the silver.
This value of silver was too high to make silver dollars with. It was not worth the silver to use to make dollars with. They're still making other coins, but the silver dollars, they're big coins, and they weren't there. We had the dollar. I think the dollar bill was coming out or had been out already. It wasn't worth it to make silver dollar coins anymore. So a lot of the Morgan silver dollars that were made were either never saw the light of day or were melted down. And ones that never saw the light of day were stored in the U.S. Treasury vault and were kept there until the 1960s. So if you can pull up one of the Morgan silver dollars with the CC stamp on it.
Okay, let me find that one.
The one that's packaged, that would be great, because these are the ones that all the collectors were after when the U.S. Treasury opened up the vaults and were basically selling these coins at face value. A lot of these were pretty rare coins, but the ones that they held off was the Carson City ones. And all it had to do is because of the low mintage and the low availability of them. There weren't a lot. And so they realized that there was probably a lot of value in these particular Morgan dollars. So they approached the General Services Administration to auction off these coins. And the image that our viewers are probably seeing right now is the Carson City Morgan dollar in the package that the General Service Administration put together.
Okay.
And to point out, these are mint state coins. They never saw the light of day. They were never touched. So these are the best quality rare coins you can possibly get.
Wow.
And so they started auctioning off these coins. And the chart that if you can also pull that up just for briefly,
Yeah.
it shows the Carson City by date from 1878, and it only goes to 1891. They were minted until 1893. And the first column you see the mintage; those are the number of mintage, and then the number that were discovered. And then you see the last column, the percentage of the hoard that were being auctioned compared to the total that were minted.
Wow.
So if you just look at some of those numbers, 1879, less than half a percent were being auctioned. 1890, 0.17%. 1891, 0.3, is that 35%? And the three dates that are actually not on there is because not a lot of information was given, and they're actually the three most rarest CC Morgan dollars, and that's the 1889, 1892, and 1893. You won't see them on that chart because there's just not enough information.
Wow.
And the percentages are probably even lower than the 1891 at 0.17%.
Wow.
And these are extremely rare coins. They're being auctioned off for a lot of money. And quite interestingly, the highest price realized for basically best mint state, this was the 1889 Carson City Morgan silver dollar, was at $881,250 US.
Wow.
Amazing. Yeah, that is amazing. That's pretty remarkable for just one coin. And that number alone kind of sums up why mintage and availability says so much about a rare coin. And that's for any coin collector that's seeing this or is thinking of collecting coins as maybe as investment, make sure you look at mintage and how many are available, because that will be your first stepping stone into determining if you have a rare coin or not.
Okay. So let me ask you this, Victor. So are you telling me that most people, when they look at coins, when I look at a coin, first thing I'm looking at is, I don't know, how old does it look? How new does it look?
Yeah.
And I'm going to look at it and go, okay, that's an old-looking coin.
Yeah.
But maybe more importantly, I think what you're saying is that if it's old-looking, now we're getting into the quality of the coin, right? Like how deteriorated or not deteriorated it is. And while that may indicate old, a better way is to do mintage and then what was the other factor? I'm sorry, mintage and then
the mint marks.
The mint marks. Okay, but how much? So mintage would be just how many coins they produced, right?
They were produced, yes.
Okay, so those sound like much better ways to start than to just look at is it old or not, right?
Yeah. Most of the time, people just look for old coins, which is I'm not saying you shouldn't. It's definitely one of the first things you should look at. Like, do you have an old coin or not? Right. And the reason why a lot of old coins are worth so much is because they were eventually pulled off circulation, and there isn't a lot of them anymore. And that goes back to mintage. Mintage, old coins, there weren't a lot made. They didn't have the technology to make or produce so many of these coins. And then when they were pulled off circulation, because there's so few of them, they're more likely to be by the end, or like by today, so few of them still available or still around that we know of. And that's the Morgan silver dollar, especially the Carson City Morgan silver dollar, is a good example of that, because how often are you going to come across a Carson City Morgan silver dollar? Probably not. You probably will never see one, because they're stored in the U.S. Treasury vaults and then sold to collectors. So the collectors have them. If you happen to come across one by chance, that's going to be one damn hell of a rare coin, because you found one that was in circulation. Probably won't be in best quality. And quality is condition rather is another very important factor. But most of the time, it really does come down to how scarce is this one coin. Anything collectible, whether things like my father used to collect baseball and hockey cards.
Right.
Some cards, there's only maybe 5 or 6 that are ever made, and that's why they're so rare. If you find one that's in the best condition, of course that's going to be the cream of the crop. You can still find one that's in not so good condition, but it's still worth a hell of a lot, just because there's only a handful of them, and a lot of collectors are it's the supply and demand. If there's not a lot of them, if people want them, it's going to be worth a lot of money. That's what the auctions are for. That's how you determine how rare a coin is, and that I'm not sure what the date was when that over 800,000 Carson City coin was I guess realized or appraised at. But that was sort of a benchmark for a lot of collectors for like, okay, that's what we're looking for. That's what we're trying to reach in terms of finding a rare Carson City coin.
That's cool. That's cool. So I got a question for you.
Sure.
So, because of the rarity, is there any reason in the future that you could think of that this coin would decrease in value?
Decrease in value?
Yeah. I mean, are these things that where their value is going to wax and wane for any number of reasons, or are they pretty much a solid bet?
Why they would devalue? I can't really think of one. Even if the U.S. Mint started making Morgan silver dollars as a way to commemorate the Morgan silver dollar, even that wouldn't even devalue the coin, because you also have to look at it from the point of view of the collector. The collector knows, the collector is informed of how much that coin is worth based on these given reasons. We looked at condition and mint and vintage and the history that's behind the Morgan dollar. If you can cross all those things off your list when you have a coin in front of you, then you probably have a rare coin. Now, one of the ways they could devalue the coin, and it's kind of one of those things where it happens and you kind of just slap yourself in the head for it, is you take the coin out of those cases that even you showed the picture of. You take the coin out of the case and you start touching it and playing around with it. Of course, that's going to devalue the coin. To a collector, they're going to know that this coin was taken out. It's no longer in mint condition. You've probably seen the Simpsons comic book guy, in mint condition in the plastic case, the comic books. As soon as you take them out, they're worthless to people, and not to people, but to a collector.
Sure.
Because they're looking for something particular. It's really up to the collector how they value that coin. A lot of the times, it's just when it was made, and what particular coin is it? Does it fit this criteria? Okay, then it's probably worth this much. And then you go into the nitty gritty, and that's the condition and whatnot, and the toning and stuff like that. That's all stuff that's explained in the blog post that I put together.
Yes. Where we find that blog post? That would be on CanadaGold.ca, right?
Yep, CanadaGold.ca. Click on blogs. You'll see a number of different kind of posts that I put up there. But the one on evaluating rare coins, that one's pretty interesting, because there's a lot of different things that even when I was putting that together that I didn't even think of, such as toning and whatnot. And the whole mintage thing, that's it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer, and that's why I want to start with this sort of segment to talk about the rare coins, just because that's the first thing we should look at. Is this coin? How many are there? How many are still available? How many collectors have this coin? Who has them? And where do you get it? And those are the questions you should be asking if you're thinking of, finding a rare coin, or if you think you have a rare coin.
That's cool. That's cool. I'm sitting here playing around looking for the other blog shot. I had the URL set up here, but it's CanadaGold.ca / what is the full URL there, Victor? Tell everybody. We're going to put it up in here.
I think I have it somewhere. CanadaGold.ca / evaluating-coins /
Outstanding. Get that in there. There's a lot more information in there, but you just told me something that I didn't even think about. I mean, my grandfather gave me a coin collection when I was very young.
Yeah.
There were a lot of coins that were inside cases and such. Yeah. I don't know if any of them were sealed. I probably devalued all of them by opening them up, playing with them, running around, showing my friends. So yeah. when you something in a case like that, obviously there are certain ones that the government has sealed or were sealed for a reason. Those are the ones that we don't want to open. Those are the collector ones you're talking about.
Yes.
But if you had one that You just had stuck it in a case yourself. Now that's something where it's not sealed. The collector can take it out, right? Yes, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the picture that you showed, that one was put together by the General Services Administration.
Right.
That essentially certifies or legitimizes that coin as being, it's been appraised. You know it's mint state. You know where it's come from. You know it's the real McCoy.
Right.
If it's in that case and you know all those things, and the General Services Administration has a certificate that stands behind that, then that basically solidifies that coin as being a rare coin, a very very valuable rare coin.
Okay. What about what about this one here? What about this guy? That's in it. Is that one of those sealed?
Hold on, I can't actually. I'm right now. I'm looking at the closet door still.
Oh, sorry. Well, you can look at the bottom view and change. This is the one that's in a prettier case. It says uncirculated silver dollar, Carson City, and maybe looks like one of your guys' cases. It doesn't look like a GSA official.
Oh yeah, that's probably one of the cases we put together.
Okay. So this is what you guys would package something to sell it to a customer.
Yeah.
All right.
Which is that's what a lot of to resell coins. It's very very normal. But to answer your question, that you said it was your grandfather's coin collection.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not too sure if he maybe packaged those himself, but usually if he's put together a coin collection, as soon as you take him out of their spot to a coin collector, they have no idea where that coin came from.
Right.
If they know they're in the collection, it's like, okay, I know someone's put this together. They've probably done the research. They've taken the time to put this together. So you just take them out, maybe put it in your pocket, take them out again, put to a coin collector. He's like, well, I don't know where that coin came from.
Interesting. Kind of ruins the legitimacy for the collector.
Yeah, it ends up being a risk thing for the collector too, because it's like, I don't know where that coin came from. I don't know if I want to pay top dollar for that coin. I don't want to take that risk.
So we hear the same kind of thing. I don't know. I know you guys. Do you watch like Pawn Stars and shows like that?
I have seen Pawn Stars, yeah.
So I mean, I see the same thing all the time where Rick, the owner of the shop, says, "All right, you're telling me this is Elvis's signature on a baseball cap, and here's a letter from a guy that claims this is how it happened, but I don't have anything that is legitimate to me as a collector, right?"
Yeah. It's the evidence that collectors want. And with Pawn Stars, they have experts that come in to kind of legitimize certain things if they're not too sure before they set a price. Which is, to a collector, they don't always have it on hand. Or even at Canada Gold, we don't have someone to come in and be like, okay, that's a rare coin, you should offer this price for it. That's where the risk comes in, and having things that are packaged properly and it's certified and has a certificate and it says everything that needs to be there. And of course, that adds assurance to a collector. And that's, anyone collecting something rare, you want assurance. It's to you. You value it so much. You're putting in the work to go out and look for this coin. You want to make sure you're getting the same thing in return, right? So, having all that information up front. It eliminates the risk of your investment. But that's what it is. It's an investment.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, to me, it's one of the cooler investments. I mean, I realize things like gold and platinum and bars are investments for a lot of people. But if I'm going to invest in gold or any metal, I'd rather have it be something with some kind of history to it for me personally.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good point. And I think I mentioned it briefly on the blog post. Is historic value is something that really does pique collectors' interest.
Right.
And I think that's one of the reasons why the Morgan silver dollar was sought after initially when the U.S. Treasury opened up their vaults to collectors to sell at basically face value, because they knew the history behind it. They knew the Carson City Mint was made because of this mining discovery. It didn't last very long. It was a very poor mint facility, and the few coins that they knew Morgan silver dollars they had made were taken out of circulation, and some were stored in the U.S. vault. They knew that already. by knowing that, they know this coin is unique compared to a lot of other coins out there. It's very unique compared to the quarter that you probably have in your pocket or in your piggy bank.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
All right, so I got two more questions for you on that.
Yep.
So, I was flipping through some of the other pictures that you loaded in here. We've got the other mints of the Morgan dollar, right?
Yeah.
And I just want to go through, I'm putting up this other information here, but I want to look at some of those and let people know where some of the other mints were, okay?
Yeah.
So
That's great. I kind of glossed over it.
It's okay. This leads into another question I have for you. But so here's the Morgan, right? This is the Carson City, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we have, this is Denver, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Denver. Here's what is this? New Orleans?
Yeah. The O should be New Orleans.
Okay. So now is the New Orleans mint still around? Is that a big mint, small mint?
I'm actually not too sure. I believe that it is still around. I'm not sure what kind of coins they're making anymore.
Okay.
Things like like the Carson City Mint, like those ones they disappeared a long time ago.
Right.
I'm not too sure if New Orleans same thing happened, maybe at a later time. I know Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Denver they're still kicking.
Yeah, Denver for sure. What? Okay, so Philadelphia.
Philadelphia should be should have it somewhere. That information. I think Philadelphia it has no mint mark.
Oh, okay.
Has no mint mark. That's the Philadelphia one. The San Francisco and S for San Francisco, and D for Denver, O for New Orleans, and CC for Carson City.
So that's interesting. If I remember my history, and please correct me if I'm wrong, okay. The reason the Philadelphia Mint has no mint mark is because it was our first mint.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was the first U.S. mint. Yes.
See, I remember some of my U.S. history in the citizenship class. All right, last question about this.
Sure.
So, I mean, here you guys are, you're Canada Gold selling these U.S. Morgan dollars here.
Yeah.
What kind of turnover do you see on these? Like the ones you've got loaded in here. I mean, are they going to be gone in a week?
Gone in a week? Oh, those ones are probably gone already.
Oh, really? Wow. So they're a hot item.
Those are probably just stored pictures that we had at the time.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, the kind of turnover, it does depend. Like if that chart that you pulled up, I think the Carson City that you're looking at there, I think that's 1984. That's not the one of the more rare Carson City Morgan silver dollars. So I think it's the 1981. I'm not sure which one you have there.
Okay.
But the ones between 1981 and 1985, those ones go for about $200 to $600. That's probably around roughly where we were selling those.
That's quite an increase on investment for a dollar coin.
For a dollar coin, mind you, there's not a whole lot of them.
Right.
But yeah, pretty good return. I'm pretty sure we had purchased those at the silver value, which was probably about $20.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we did put them on our eBay store, Canada Gold eBay store. You can Google that, and we do have a number of different kind of coins in addition to things like jewelry. And yeah, that's where we sold the Carson City or also our other Morgan silver dollars. And yeah, there's some pretty good return. We haven't come across very rare ones though. Those ones you'll probably never see.
Right.
Yeah. It's usually you do see a lot of the 1881 to 1885s. Those are the most common ones sold on eBay or Amazon, and even I forget which site. I think it was sponsored by GSA, but yeah, they're essentially just selling those.
Wow.
For about $200, just because they need to get rid of them. Not everyone was purchasing them when they were auctioning them. The first ones to go were the 1879, 1889, the very rare ones because collectors they wanted those ones.
What about the 1921? Are those also rare? Wasn't there a reason the 1921 coin was different?
Yeah, because those ones were only made in Denver.
So I think my grandfather had a couple of those.
Those ones?
The 1921s. That was what he had, and I remember taking one of them down to an appraiser. And this is you got to remember, this is like 1982
Yeah.
or 3.
Yeah.
And it was not in good condition. It was in fair to poor condition.
Okay.
And I think it was around $76 was the coin value that we looked up in the book. All right.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
don't know what that would translate into today.
Probably going to be similar. Probably going to be similar.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not too sure what some of the going rates for some of the higher mint states were for the Denver 1921 Morgan dollars. But, another thing to think about is collections. You said your grandpa had a coin collection.
Yes, which I dismantled, unfortunately. But yes, had a good one.
Some coins are the Morgan silver dollar is a good example of this again because you have the different mint marks in the different years. Sometimes like a coin like the 1921, the Denver Morgan dollar could be valuable because a collector is trying to complete a collection. That one particular coin.
Okay.
Right? He's trying to get a coin from each of the mint marks. And that's of course that's like, once again that's up to the collector, but it's also a good point to illustrate how mint marks and trying to complete a collection, how a mint mark can add value in that case.
That would be great. I'd love to explore that on another show and just talk about
collections.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about what would make a good collection. Do you sell entire like do you put together collections?
I don't think we've ever sold entire collections. I have purchased entire collections, or almost entire collections. I remember someone brought in almost an entire collection of silver Canadian coins. Basically,
oh, wow.
It was very, very huge. It must have been about 20 or 30 silver coins. But it's usually, a collector approaches for just one coin.
So let me ask you about this. When somebody brings you a collection, and they've put the time to put these all together and organize it in a certain way, now, does that increase the value overall for you as a buyer?
As a buyer, it should. It should. When this person came in, to a seller, let's not look at Canada Gold as an example in this case because our buy and sell is a little different from a collector's buy and sell.
Sure.
For a collector, good point. That person to the seller, they put the time and energy into completing this collection. To a buyer, they will recognize that. Hey, I can get an entire collection. Of course, I'll just have to negotiate the price, but of course, this is probably going to be a little bit higher than putting the collection together myself. Do I want to go through the time of putting the collection myself, or do I want to buy it straight up?
Okay, so here's my last question really about the Morgan dollar, and I think we've gone over an hour, which is great because we were talking about a half hour, right? So we've said a lot in here. This is fantastic. Why Morgan?
Why Morgan?
In my mind, I'm thinking JP Morgan, right? That's so. Why is it? What's Morgan?
Morgan is Morgan is the person who made the coin or who designed the coin. His name was George T. Morgan.
Really?
Yeah. Designed the coin the 1870s. It was 1873 when the coin was officially minted.
All right.
I believe it was in Philadelphia. What's interesting though is the early. I think it's actually all the Morgan silver dollars. What am I talking about? The obverse, which is the one that has the Liberty on the back.
Okay.
George Morgan, he got the portrait of a friend of a friend. So her name was Anna Williams.
Oh, all right.
That's how you got the portrait for the Liberty. And so when you look at the Liberty on the Morgan dollar, you're looking at Anna Williams.
Oh, wow. I'm trying to find that image. I wanted to pull up a better picture of it, and of course I can't find the one I'm looking for here.
Not a lot of coins are named after the designer, and that's actually quite interesting about the Morgan silver dollar. When I was doing some research on it for that blog post, I did do a blog post on the Morgan silver dollar as well. I can find that on the Canada Gold blog.
Great.
But yeah, that's one of the things I found interesting was that the Morgan silver dollar was named after the designer, which I think only happens every once in a while. Every few coins, it's named after the designer.
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, considering the politics and bureaucracy surrounding coins in general, right?
Yeah.
Currency of a nation. That's pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah.
and I know throughout history we've had some other coins that the U.S. has done those kind of things, named them after this, that, and the other. But that's named after the designer. That is unique and completely not what I thought.
It is unique. It's definitely something you wouldn't expect, and I'm not sure if this is true. I've tried to look this up, like why was it named after him, and you can't really find a lot of things. It's usually just stories. But I think the reason why it was made was because you kind of go back to politics, right? What you just mentioned.
Right.
It could be something political. The Morgan dollar was made as a silver trade dollar. It wasn't necessarily supposed to be made as a common circulated coin, like a quarter or a penny or a dime. It was made as a silver trade dollar. So maybe someone approached him being like, "Hey, we want to make these dollars. We're going to mint them. Can you design us a silver trading dollar?" And maybe he was like, "Okay, sure." He made one. He liked it. He said, "Okay, I want you to call it Morgan Silver Dollar." That's just my guess. I think it's a good guess compared to any. Probably makes for a good story. I'm sure if there is one out there.
Right. That's
but
cool.
it's definitely something you don't see very often. A coin named after someone. It's usually like the Canadian dollars. Some of the coins they'll be named after the Queen. Like commemorative coins are named after the Queen because she's on the obverse, and you see her face every time you look at the coin. So
we looked at some really cool. Talking about those, who was it? The last episode, we looked at some really cool coins that had the Queen on them.
When you were with Greg, right?
Yeah, it was the work, the little details that they did to make them stand out, the polished versus the non-polished on the gold. That was just amazing to me.
Yeah, they're really getting fancy with their coins now. They're doing new stuff. Sometimes they put gems or different graphics on it.
Oh, nice.
But, the coins they're not or at least the Morgan Silver Dollar. They're not the same. They're not the same. And I think that's why collectors they like the old coins because they're so unique compared to other coins that are coming out now. They're just so flashy. They kind of like the old look, gritty look. Some of the older silver coins.
Yep. So it's creating a diversity in the market. You're going to have people that like one or the other, I'm guessing.
Yeah, completely.
Well, fantastic, Victor. I think we should wrap it up. Is there anything else you want to let people know? We've got the blog post there. Anybody looking to collect Morgan Silver dollars, what would you tell them?
What would I tell them? I would tell them to, talk to us on Google+. If you've got any questions about coins or looking to collect coins or buy or sell, reach out to us on Google+ for Canada Gold on Google+, and we'll answer your questions. We'll refer you to someone else or someone in our Canada Store team, Canada Gold Store team, to answer your questions because that's where we are to talk about this kind of stuff. So that's what I would say.
Well, and I'll second that because every time I have a question, I find you in Google Plus and ask him.
Right.
To date, you guys haven't let me down. So thank you very much. This is Victor Minichiello with Canada Gold, and we have been talking about mintage and the Morgan Silver Dollar. Join us next time for another episode of the Canada Gold Show. Goodbye around the world. This is John Ellis with EBN.